video is to celebrate the milestone of reaching 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, which is an incredible number. Just doing this as a bit of a hobby kind of thing, I didn't think I'd get this far, as it seems like such a huge number. So thank you ever so much for your support and subscribing. I really appreciate it. In this video, I'm going to be answering 10 questions that I've received. I did get more than 10, but I've tried to just pick that many to kind of limit the length of this video. So if your question doesn't get covered, don't worry, it'll probably be answered in the future in another Q&A video as I reach hopefully another milestone, or if I just do it randomly. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so question 1 from Gavin Brumwell is, what game do you not have on the Mega Drive that you want the most? Now, the game that I want most at the moment for my Mega Drive collection is The Adventures of Batman and Robin, because it's based on the animated series, which I absolutely love, and I'm a huge fan of Batman. I'm even wearing a Batman t-shirt now, I've just noticed. So yeah, I love Batman, everything Batman. I also want it on the Super Nintendo as well, because it's different on there. It's very hard, and I don't think I'll be able to complete it, but I just love Batman and the graphics are really cool, so yeah, that's number 1 on my list at the moment. My next question from Snow Kitten, she asked a similar question to Gavin, but she also asked, is there any game you wish you hadn't bought? Now, I'm probably with a lot of old retro gamers on this. Rise of the Robots. That game, oh my word, I really wish I'd never bought that. It tricked a lot of us. The graphics looked amazing. The price, I think it was about £20 or £30. So I thought I was getting a great deal because games are about 50 or 60, very expensive. And I got it and I tried to play it. I really tried to enjoy it, but it was just absolutely dreadful. Possibly worse than Shaq Fu, I think. Shaq Fu gets a lot of stick, but Rise of the Robots, oh man, that is definitely style over substance. Question 3 is from my friend Dan, Slopes Game Room. It's, what movie that does not have a game adaptation would you like to get one, and how would it play? I was quite disappointed by the fact that there wasn't a game for The Dark Knight, the film, you know, the sequel to Batman Begins. Because Batman Begins had a game on the Xbox and PS2. I think it was on other things as well, like the Game Boy Advance, but you know, it was on the main consoles. And even though licensed games are pretty rubbish in general, that is one that I would have really liked to play. Now, it probably would have followed a similar format, which was kind of like a bit like Splinter Cell, but a little bit more action orientated. It wasn't quite as high on stealth. There was like a fear intimidation kind of tactic in there as well. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't brilliant either, but I would have really liked to seen that. I did try and think of other films as well that hadn't had games, like Short Circuit from my childhood. The Mask as well, I wondered about that. That would have been quite interesting, although I don't know how you would quite make a game of it because it's potentially limitless. And from that I then branched off onto Ace Ventura. I thought maybe like a Telltale adventure style game would be quite good for that film. Of course, you would need to get Jim Carrey to kind of do the voice. It wouldn't be as good without. So, yeah, I think my choice will be The Dark Knight. I really wish that had a game because I love the film, and even though the game probably would have sucked, I would have liked it anyway. The 4th question is from OddPod, and he asks, you've just been given £1,000. What do you buy? Well, £1,000, that would be amazing. The first thing I would buy is a Canon 750 or 760D DSLR camera because, like with the intro to this particular video, I want to get a bit more creative. I'd like a shallow depth of field so it kind of blurs out the background a bit and change focus on things. I've got friends that have got them and I've thought about trying to ask to borrow them for certain videos where I want to do stuff that's a bit more creative. Because yeah, I'm quite limited. I just use a camera phone. I just use my iPhone camera to do all this. But I do have some ideas of things I want to do and I am kind of limited slightly. So I'd buy one of those, a lens as well, to kind of do certain things. What else would I buy? Basically, I would just invest it all back into equipment which goes into making these videos to try and make them better, whether it's capturing footage in better quality, new software and plugins and tools. I mean, I have good video editing software now, which costs quite a bit, but yeah, I would invest it back into the channel to try and make it even better and kind of, yeah, fulfill my kind of creative ideas that I have. So that would be pretty cool. The next question is by Sega Pit and the Danicon Show. They each ask, basically, how large is my collection? How many games do I currently own? Right, well, the Mega Drive games behind me, I counted earlier, and there's between 90 to 100 games. I think it's like 93 games, so there's quite a few. As a quick estimate, I mean, I counted a stack of games, and I've kind of done a rough estimate, shall we say, and we're looking at between 600 to 800 physical games. So that doesn't include compilations, it doesn't include games I've downloaded on the Xbox One or the Xbox 360, and it doesn't include any Steam games like that, but it's got Game Boy, Master System, the GameCube, the original Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, the GameCube, the Nintendo 64, yeah, basically all of my consoles. Yeah, there is a lot of games. Okay, Lewis asks, how many games do you still have in the cellophane? Oh my word, this is my friend Lewis, and he teases me quite a bit because I play a game, I have a very short attention span with things. I kind of play a game, get so far. Sometimes I enjoy them so much that I don't want them to end, so I move on to another game. Other times I've just got too many games at once, or I'm currently playing one and a new one comes out that I really want to play. And some of them, unfortunately, are still in their cellophane, such as Mass Effect 2 on the Xbox 360. How many games in total? I think maybe 10 to 20 I haven't played or are still in their cellophane. Most of those are on the Xbox 360 though. I certainly don't have any old retro games that are still kind of sealed. So yeah, maybe that. There might be one on the PS2 as well, but yeah, roughly about 10 I would say. Not too many. Okay, my next question is from Sarah Sharkbait, and she asks, if you ever had to cosplay, who would you dress up as and why? Now, as I've already touched on in this video, I'm a massive, massive fan of Batman. I'm also probably a bigger fan of the Joker. He's an amazing character that I absolutely love. I have wanted to cosplay as him for a long time, you know, like a Halloween thing or something, but because I admire the character so much, the problem is my standards are set so high, so if I don't do it justice, I just can't bear to even bother trying. So, you know, having a proper suit and everything. I wouldn't dress as like the Dark Knight version because that was overly done. The new Suicide Squad one, that's probably going to get overly done. I would go for my own kind of dark, creepy, twisted style. I think that would be really cool. So, yeah, so if I did ever cosplay, I don't know if cosplay is the right word, but yeah, I love the Joker. That's the first answer that comes to mind. Eternal Steph HD asks, what is your favourite Tomb Raider game? Now, you know I love Tomb Raider then. You've probably seen my Gaming Memories video about Tomb Raider. So the first one I have a lot of nostalgia for. It's an absolutely brilliant game. And when I played it again to kind of capture the footage for it, I really, really enjoyed it. I loved it pretty much as I did back then. That said, Rise of the Tomb Raider on the Xbox One, and it's out on the PS4 now as well, that game is absolutely superb. The graphics are amazing, the gameplay is really fun, there's kind of like acting in it, and it looks really lifelike, or Lara Croft does anyway, it looks very, very lifelike. It's just absolutely amazing, that game. So I would have said Tomb Raider, the first one, in the past, possibly. I did actually quite enjoy The Last Revelation on the Dreamcast, even though I know a lot of people aren't huge fans of that one. But yeah, for me, at the moment, it's Rise of the Tomb Raider. Absolutely brilliant. Martin's Games asked, now you have a PS4 and Xbox One, what do you prefer? Now, I was going to be quite cheeky and answer as the Wii U because it's a very underrated console. It's very misunderstood and there's a lot of amazing games on it, really. It is a lot of fun, but as I have to try and stick to the questions, I guess, Xbox One or PS4, I would have to say the Xbox One. Purely because of well, I've got more games on it for a start, and I had an Xbox 360, so the upgrade, even though I had a PS3 as well. But I do really like the kind of party chat, the fact that you can talk with your friends whilst you're playing different games, and it's very easy to kind of jump in their game if it's a multiplayer one, and the achievements as well. For some reason, unlocking trophies doesn't quite feel the same for me. Maybe it's because I started on achievements. But yeah, I love trying to get those. So yeah, there's not that much difference in terms of graphics. I know there's a lot of stuff about the frame rates and how they differ, but it's not that noticeable to me when I'm playing. So at the moment, Xbox One. Now the final question from SLI Gaming is, what's on your want list for retro games and consoles? Now, I've said I've got quite a lot of games already, physical games, so it probably sounds quite bad that there's loads more that I want. I probably have more games in my collection now than I have time left in my life to play, like the number of years it would probably take to finish them all, which is probably quite a morbid thought, maybe. So yeah, we'll move on quickly from there. So it's quite bad. And now I know this is about retro games, but even with new games, games are just an absolute passion for me. I love them so much. New experiences, you know, trying out new games, and that kind of hunger, that fire never really dies down ever, and it never has. I've always just absolutely loved being immersed in video games. So I think I'll always collect. So even if I've got 1,000 or 2,000 games, people might think it's silly that I still want more. It's not like a greed thing. It's purely just because I love video games and I want to pretty much experience all of them. So the next on my list, mainstream consoles. I seem to have most of them. I think the only ones I don't have are the Game Gear and the Sega Saturn. So I would say the Sega Saturn as a console is the next on my list to get. Other than that, possibly the Neo Geo afterwards. Not too sure. In terms of games that are on my kind of wish list to get next, they're not that rare. They're kind of games that I used to have in my childhood and I want to get them back in my collection, and I just haven't got around to it yet because I haven't found them in the right condition for the right price. One of those games that I really want is Wonder Boy in Monster World for the Mega Drive. I have a lot of nostalgic memories for that. I also want things like Spyro on the PS1. Yeah, so just some random games really. Nothing too extreme, but yeah, Sega Saturn I think is the next on my list. Okay, so that's all of the questions we have time for today in this particular video. If your question didn't get answered, I hope you're not too disappointed, as there will be more opportunities for kind of Q&As in the near future. I'd like to give a quick shout out to my Patreons. Thank you ever so much to Lewis, Kev, Jess, Lucy, Mark and Chris. Thank you ever so much. I really, really appreciate it, especially with my kind of inconsistent uploads and things like that. You guys have been absolutely brilliant. Very, very supportive and understanding. So thank you very much. Thanks also to all of you who take the time out of your day to watch my videos, to comment on them, help promote them by sharing them on Twitter and Facebook and basically everywhere else. I really, really appreciate it. Your support and positivity and how nice you've been really helps me drive forward with this. It's something I'm really, really passionate about. Even though it's kind of just a hobby, you know, I'm just making videos about games and talking about my opinions on them and that, but it's something I really enjoy doing, and you make that so much better for me. It really makes the whole experience just so much better. So thank you ever so much for your support. that's all for this video. I'm going to try, I've tried to keep it as short as possible. I do waffle on a bit long. But yeah, so I've got some other videos in the works. I've got another little surprise coming soon, hopefully, if I record that and it goes well. We'll see. But that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.